with you. Now, I don't know, I confess, when I was told about this morning, I didn't remember this. This is a crash of a Chinook helicopter. It's the one with sort of huge rotor blades at both ends. I think they come from RAF Odium in Hampshire, don't they? So 29 military and intelligence personnel who were on board an RAF Chinook, which was travelling from Northern Ireland to Scotland, were all killed in 1994 by the Mull of Kintyre. We were told that the investigation would not be made public for years and years and years. But today, I think it was 2094, but today we learned that the bereaved families will be allowed to question ministers. Let's speak to Colonel Simon Diggins, OBE, military and defence analyst, who knew a number of people who were aboard the helicopter. I've given the brief outline. Could you give us more details about what actually happened, Simon? Good morning.
Ian, good morning to you. Yes, thank you. The helicopter was flying from RF Aldergrove heading towards Inverness for a conference, an intelligence and military intelligence conference. And it flew across the sea, and then something happened around the Mull of Kintyre. And one of the issues around the inquiries is whether it was aircraft or whether it was pilot error. Whatever the cause, and there had been 6 inquiries regarding what actually happened.
It was very foggy, wasn't it?
It is, but the issue was whether the instruments were correct or whether the aircraft, which was a new aircraft, and hadn't necessarily been properly certified, gave the pilots the correct information. The pilots are very experienced pilots. They were RAF Special Forces pilots, so very experienced pilots, conditions they were used to, but a new aircraft and a new airframe. So the issue really was it pilot negligence? Was it the aircraft? Was it something else that was going on? Because of who people on board were, huge amounts of conspiracy theories have flown around this particular tragedy.
Is this going to be the first test case for the new Hillsborough law, which places a new duty of candour on public bodies?
We hope so, because this is absolutely scandalous. I mean, these families have been trying to get at the truth now for over 31 years. I mean, it's almost impossible to imagine that 31 years they've been fobbed off with excuses, partial inquiries, being told that some of the documents are going to be locked up till 2094. I mean, what a 30-year rule in this country, for goodness sake. So 2094 is just completely absurd. I can't think of anything that happened in 1994 in regard to this crash that deserves this degree of secrecy. And in the meantime, families have grown up without knowing their fathers and not knowing the tragedy of the circumstances in which they died. So I really do hope that, as you say, this new Hillsborough law on public candour comes through, because, my goodness, we absolutely need it. And anything to do with Northern Ireland there's a sort of horrible sort of closing down of information at the moment, which has been going on. It happened recently with the Opcanova, with the so-called state knife agent. Again, documents being sealed to 2094 and not even in court. People would openly admit who this individual was. Everyone knows who he is, a guy called Schiapachi. So we all know this is going. There's no excuse whatsoever for hiding this information from the families. They deserve the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And I really do hope they get it.
And if I can ask you, your personal collection to this is quite strong, isn't it?
It is, yes. I knew 3 of the individuals. I knew some of the others by name, but I know 3 of the individuals on board personally. One of them, Colonel Gregory Smith, had been one of my instructors at the Staff College, but 2 of the people who were killed, Chris Doherty and Roy Pugh, were personal friends of mine. I'd served with them as young captains, and we'd then been to Staff College. We'd only finished Staff College in 1992, so I knew them very personally, and I knew their families. And yes, so their death was a horrible, horrible tragedy, and one that would not only affect the service, but affected me personally. So yes, it's very personal to me too.
Do you think you'll get answers?
I sincerely hope so. After all this time. As I said, I lived in that world of defence and security for 35 odd years. So I do understand around issues around secrecy or about protecting sources and people. I understand all those rules, but I can think of nothing, absolutely nothing, that should stop the full information about what happened on that day from coming forward, including, and this will probably be the embarrassment factor, including those phases. And as I said, we've had 6 inquiries where clearly the MOD, for whatever reason, didn't want information to come out. We need to have all that information including that sort of officialese, bureaucraties, defence of security for no good reason, that also came out. There's no longer any excuse here. We must have the truth and the whole truth.
Good luck. Let us know how it goes. Colonel Simon Diggins calling for a fresh inquiry, another one, into the 1994 Chinook crash in the Mull of Kintyre. Let's finish with Jerry, who's in Amsterdam. What would you like to say about events in Australia?